In today's Leeds news, Javi Gracia's flexible contract details, update on Max Fober's injury from specialist, Leeds United under-21s in action, and Javi Gracia's press conference for Southampton at home. Hey folks, Jer here on Friday, the 24th of February with your Leeds news. Some great news to start us off. We now know that Javi Gracia has his work permit, so we can all relax and stop being crazy on Twitter. Bit of stuff to get into, some detail from Ben Jacob around what's going on with Javi Gracia's contract and with the 49ers and what could potentially happen at the end of the season in multiple different scenarios. Also, some interesting news from Ben Dinnery, who's an injury specialist who's been speaking with Give Me Sport around Max Fober's shoulder injury. Some details on the under-21 game that's coming up tonight. And then Gracia has just completed his press conference for the Southampton game and some details around the questions he was asked. Try and keep it in as short amount of time as possible. What I will do is I'll do the news stuff first to get that out of the way, and then we will do the press conference stuff at the end. So if you don't want to see that, you don't have to stick around. But we'll get into this and we'll start off with it. And according to Ben Jacobs, Javi Gracia's job at Leeds may not go beyond the end of the season, regardless of how he does. It's a big if, it's a big may, so let's just hold that thought. Jacobs claims that Leeds may still want to go after their number one candidate in the summer. Now we know that Slot and Iraola are the two main candidates that Leeds were interested this time around and wouldn't take the job until the new season. There is still a possibility that Leeds may go back in for them. Jacobs has said that if Leeds do stay up, it will create what he's referring to as a paradox because he probably shouldn't be replaced, but with the 49ers coming in, they may want to look at this themselves and bring in a preferred candidate. He said this is ultimately why the contract is referred to as a flexible contract. He said, however, if there is a serious upturn in Leeds' fortunes and a result, and the 49ers might decide to keep him in place when they take full control. What I would add to this, in the context, more context to this, would be that from what we've read about the interview process, the 49ers are heavily involved in this, and the 49ers were the ones that were very, very impressed with Gracia's detail and how he would take Leeds out of the current situation that they're in. So it could potentially go for somebody else, but it could be a situation where they just look at it and go, he's our preferred candidate anyway. This probably is, for the first time, a 49ers appointment, or at least a favored 49ers appointment. So that'll be an interesting one to see. So we'll put a pin in that till the end of the season. We'll come back to it then. Okay. I wouldn't react too heavily to that, though. It is only conjecture. It is only an opinion piece from Ben. So, I would give it time. Let's see. Moving on. Let's talk about Max Fober's shoulder injury against Everton, and injury specialist Ben Dinnery, who's been doing some work and giving some opinion to the guys at Give Me Sport, has had his say on the injury. And what he has said is that it's a good sign that Max Fober continued up until halftime. We do know the player is a major doubt for the game this weekend. Gracia wouldn't go into it in detail in his press conference. Dinnery has said that a dislocated shoulder, if lacking severity, can be something that's a matter of days rather than weeks. He said, however, though, if it is severe, it could be 3 to 4 weeks. But what he said is that it's encouraging the player was able to continue till half time. It means the severity might not be as bad as they thought. Now, there's the other side to it that he could have aggravated it more as well. Doesn't appear to be the case, though. And he said that he has played until half time is a good sign. And he went on to say that you certainly can't rule out the possibility of a longer term injury here, because players can be out longer. But he said there have been situations where players have come back within 3 to 7 days of a dislocated shoulder, and that other players take longer and could take 3 to 4 weeks. It all depends on the severity. We don't really know the severity, but fingers crossed Max is okay and available, and they can those big, shouldery, can compact these strappy things. There's your there's the official terminology for that thing, a compacty, strappy thing around the shoulder. So, fingers crossed on Max, and we will see how that goes. Moving on, let's talk about the Leeds under-21s. They are in action tonight, also playing Southampton away in the Premier League 2. The game is at the Staplewood campus, but the game will not be televised on LUTV. This is due to UK broadcasting restrictions. The reason for this is Wolves and Fulham are playing in the Premier League tonight, and it's a horrible thing to say, but it maybe Wolves and Fulham fans would much rather watch the Leeds United under-21s than actually go and watch Fulham and Wolves. And that's why you can't watch the game, because it could affect attendance at Fulham and Wolves, a game taking place in London. It's mind-boggling. I'm hoping it's available in Ireland. It's probably not. Most of the reserve games that were available at the start of the season here now don't seem to work anymore. So I've given up on LUTV. Let's talk. Sorry, that's pretty much it for the news. That essentially is it today. There's never any major news or big stories on a presser day or on a match day. So we'll move past it and we're going to move into having a quick chat about the press conference. Right, so here we go. Javi Gracia's first press conference. How relieved was everybody to see that man sitting down in front of the cameras and not someone else? Everyone just grabs onto things on Twitter. These little articles that pop out, Leeds Live, clickbait as hell, unbelievable clickbait stuff that puts people into a frenzy. Seeing people complain this morning about the situation and lack of preparation from Leeds again. You can beat Leeds ownership with a lot of sticks. There really are a lot to choose from. You've got multiple choice of different areas you could be annoyed at about the Leeds board. This isn't one. Maybe they should have replaced them, approached them earlier. Yes, they probably should have. They definitely should have. Okay, that's fine. But the process for a work permit is because an overwhelming large amount of people voted to leave the European Union. You know what I mean? This is a process that's run by the Home Office. It's done and dusted now. We said yesterday that there wasn't any major issues. I did say it. This will be fine. He can still do an awful lot of things. And what's come out of the press conferences, he has been doing a lot of things. So it's a rare occasion I get to be right on these things, but I'm delighted that I'm right on this one. But let's get into the press conference and have a quick chat. We know his work permit has been granted. He said about coming into the club. He spoke to the club on Sunday, and since he came in on Tuesday, he's only been sleeping 2 or 3 hours because of the amount of preparation and work that he's trying to put into this as well. He said that he's excited about this. He thinks it's a great club. He's watched the club and he saw the passion and the energy the players are putting in. And he said this was something he wanted to do. So he was waiting for his next move. He wanted to come back to the Premier League. He was asked about his impact. And he said that and over the course of the week, he said he's kept an eye on the team and he feels the team are prepared and ready to go for tomorrow and how he wants them to play and what he wants them to carry out. He said that the players have been prepped and he's been full of energy and commitment this week. And that's great to see. Asked about similarities to the situation he inherited at Watford, he has said there's some similarities, but there's a lot of differences as well. And he said he feels good about this amazing club and amazing set of players. Interesting, asked about his insights into the conversations that he has had. He said that he is focused on the target, which is, of course, staying up. And he is here to achieve what they are setting out. They're helped in working towards that direction. He said he's got his backroom team coming in with him, so he's happy with that as well. And he wanted an opportunity like this, so he's excited about that as well. Most important thing that he could give to the players or about the players, he said everyone knows that we need to have energy, passion, and be structured. He said the players have shown this all week. He said they need good results to change the dynamic. He basically said that it's one win will change the dynamic. The players are doing the good things. He saw how they played this season with high energy and called them dynamic. And he said it's just one win to show them the process is working, and that gives them faith in the process, which, we've been saying it all season. Performances are great, but you need that win to show you the performance actually means something, And there's that. He said, asked about his flexible contract, he said it's not easy for coaches. It doesn't matter how long your contract is. It could be one game or one lifetime. But he did say that he's accepted the challenge here, and he said he wants this to work well. But he said that they will have to try and complete their objective first before looking at anything else. And he said he doesn't want to be in a situation where he is still at the club just because of his contract status. He doesn't want that, and he doesn't want the club to be in a situation where they have to retain him just because he has a contract. He wants this to go the right way, and he said they'll have to try and get out of this problem. He said try to win one game, and that will kind of set the tone probably, and then look to complete the objective by the end of the season, which is, of course, staying up. So how will he play? He said, well, we want to play well and see how we get on. He said, but speaking after that, he said, we will have to look at the formations, but we need to see that the players understand the basic stuff and assess what the players here and the capability of players here is before we can then decide on what system we decide to play on what. But we need to have balance in the energy and the structure. He said just coming in to a team in the position that we're in doesn't mean we're going to play uber defensively or start trying to just not concede goals. We need to find ways to win games. So he would look at all of that together. Moving on. Okay, so talking about his backroom team, he said Juan is coming in, a physical trainer. Apologies yesterday for calling Mikel Antita. I called him Mikel Anita. It's just the way the letters are put together. Skipped one. And then Newcastle and Vernon Anita popped into my head. So it's Vernon Antita and Arnaldo. They are former players and have experienced in the English league before. And he said Juan is a physical trainer who's been with him pretty much since day one. So he's happy with his backroom team to come in. Asked about injuries and long-term injuries, he said, look, I'm new here. I'm getting a lot of information right now. I'd rather not talk about injuries right now, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. You don't want to be giving away too much to Southampton in the preparation. It's nice to have them to think about who will play and not be told who isn't playing, which is a good thing to have. But he said the players overall have just shown a fantastic attitude this week, which is great to see. And priorities and changes in the halfway stage. So where we are at this point in the season, what is he looking to change? Priorities. He said first thing to do is analyze the team. Second thing to do is understand why we are where we are and why we're not winning more games or why we're conceding the goals that we're conceding. And then the third way is to find goals and ways to improve the team moving forward. It's a pretty logical approach to football. Find out why it's not working, see the players you've got, figure out how they can best fix it, and then go and fix it. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't be overly complicated. He said that like it doesn't mean we have to play overly defensive style of football. We can still play attacking, but we just got to figure out what the balance is and the right balance for this team is going to be. He said we don't have much time, so we can't change much things. We heard this time last year when Jesse came in, but he said, but it's important to give the players some solutions to some of the issues that they've got right now, which is nice to hear. He said he's watched Leeds an awful lot before they were called. He liked the team. He liked the energy again. He said that, but he said when Leeds called, he said, I love this. This is where I want to be. I like it. I like the way they played with energy, and I wanted to be here, and I wanted to come here. Asked about changes, he said he can't change many things. He said we have to be clever. We have to know what to change. He said I have to know what they need and what they don't need. And he also said we need to look at many formations and different areas to have a look at, see what the situation. He said small changes will help along the way. So slow and steady. He said that we do need time, unfortunately, to get things down, but we don't have time. So we have to find other ways of getting the information across to the players, which is, again, makes very logical, very sensible. And management style wise, he said it's not descriptive. He said it depends on the players. It depends on what we need to do. And he said he just needs to make improvements and then look at that. So right now it's a case of convincing the players what's important. He was asked about being a disciplinarian and some of the information that came out around the fines that he imposed at Watford. And he said, no, that's not true. I'm not like that. He said, my job is to convince the players of what is needed to get better. That could be attendance, timekeeping, playing style, attitudes, all that kind of stuff. And then give them ways to train themselves to be better at those individual things. So the fines obviously coming in is a training tactic to get you to turn up on time, so you're prepared and ready to go. Attitude's hugely important. And that was pretty much it. It's a good press conference. He's in. He will be in the dugout. His backroom team are in. They will be in the dugout. And from what he's been saying, they've been working all week. So they have been doing some video preps. He didn't want to get in when they asked him what he's been doing all week. He kind of avoided that question because obviously he can't answer that. But from some of the questions that he answered and some of the stuff that he said, he's been watching a lot of videos. He's been doing a lot of video analysis with the players. He's been talking to the players individually and as a group. So he's been very involved this week. That's pretty clear. And hopefully we're not going to see overhauled changes tomorrow. We're not going to see huge differences in it. But I think we are going to see maybe a return to the more Jesse Marsch energy level, but hopefully with a few more, conditions around when to press triggers and when and how many numbers to press and how to keep ourselves safe at the back as well. So lots of good stuff there. Interesting one. Good to see it. Job done. Manager in. Confirmed. We can move on to the game tomorrow. Fingers crossed it goes well. He is going to need time. I'm not going to judge him after the game tomorrow. We do need a win, but if we don't get a win, it's about a process. We just got to push forward and see it. I think he is the kind of manager that if we do go down, we'll probably stick around and bring us back up if he can. And that's going to be it for me today, folks. As always, thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. And I will probably not be doing anything over the weekend. It'll be Monday morning before I'm back. But if anything crazy happens tomorrow, I might do a reaction on Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on how the weekend goes. I will talk to you then. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the game. Fingers crossed we get the result we're looking for. Talk to you later. Bye.